Dear brothers, good morning, boys. So yesterday morning, I had a eye doctor appointment. So I'm still dealing with some of this eye nonsense, and it has not been fully resolved yet, but we're working on it. So, anyways, I had an eye doctor appointment yesterday morning. It was at 9 a.m. And so got up early. I had a bunch of work to do yesterday. So it was Monday is a busy office day for me. I had my whole day kind of planned out around getting down there. I knew I was going to kind of have a couple hours missing because it's about an hour to get to where my doc is and then get back up here. And so I head down, all's good, listen to my audiobook on the way down there. So it's 8:58. I get a phone call from the eye doctor. And I go, I'm literally a minute away. So I'll just see what they have to say when I get in there. So I walk in the door, walk to the front desk. Girl looks at me, goes, so your contact didn't come in. So it still says processing. So we're going to have to reschedule. And in the moment, I kind of just, in the back of my head, was like, just remember, it's not this girl's fault that all of this is happening. But I was just like, what the hell, man? I'm basically going to have 2 hours of my day that are missing, and I'm getting really nothing for it because you don't have the contact that I need to be able to see in my left eye. I'm like, okay. So we basically reschedule it, and I went outside, got back in my car, and I sat there for a second and thought to myself, what I've talked about this on prior podcasts, but is being upset about this worth my peace? And do I need to allow something that's unfortunate, but in the end, relatively trivial, to ruin my day? And I kind of thought on it and basically kind of came to the conclusion that external factors in the world that I have no control over cannot dictate how my day goes. This is a old thought that certainly can be pulled from the Bible, certainly from ancient Stoicism, from the Senecas and Marcus Aureliuses of the world. And it's the truth. I can't do anything about the fact that it didn't get shipped. I can't do anything about the fact that, they didn't call me earlier. Maybe they didn't know. I have no control over those aspects of my life. But what I do have control over is how I respond to them. What I do in those moments when things are not the way that I would like them to be, when I have essentially lost, if you will, time. And so what was great and what I was happy about in the end of it all yesterday is after I'd made that conclusion that, hey, this doesn't need to impact my day. This doesn't need to impact how I work, what I do with people today. If it upsets me, that's going to linger and it's going to be pushed on to all the people in my life. And so I said, no, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. And I'm not going to get all too concerned about this. As my godfather has always told me, it's all good. You just got to make it work. And so I got in the car. I started driving back. I had an hour drive. And, instead of me working through or just listening to, the audiobook that I was jamming through, I was like, hey, you know what? There's actually a couple of good client calls that I can make right now of people that I need to speak to. And I had a couple of great client phone calls, even had a chance to talk to a family member for about 20 minutes. And by the time I got home, I'd crossed off several things on my list that I needed to get done. And then when I got home, I had this kind of invigorated feeling from getting some good work done while I was traveling. And I got into my office, and it was one of the most productive days in my office that I've had in a couple of months. I do a pretty good job of getting through all the work that I have to do, but yesterday I was just smoking through it. I had like an instrumental metalcore mix that I was listening to that I sent over to my buddy, and I was just cranking, banged through an entire program that I'm creating right now, which I had told you guys very briefly about last week. I got on a couple of good phone calls with other clients of mine. I got a couple people scheduled for the future. I worked through a bunch of interviews that I've got coming up. I got all sorts accomplished yesterday, far more than what my task list had asked of me. And I'm telling you that all of that started with the fact that I didn't allow something first thing in the morning that was out of my control to take my gaze away from what mattered. And I think that this morning, fellas, I really want that to be something that we understand and that we become aware of. I think most of the time what happens is we forget or we're not conscious when things like that happen. Something bad happens, something goes awry, our kid throws up in the car when we're taking them to school, our wife forgot something that we have to now bring to them, we drop something, whatever it ends up being, those things in the world that are just frustrating, like driving an hour and them not having the thing that you're coming there to get. When those things happen, oftentimes I think we just get too caught up in the anger, the frustration of the moment. And I think that the first part or the first aspect of handling it better is being aware that it's happening. So really give yourself a little bit of a gauge when you see that you're starting to get frustrated. Something's popped up. Something has not gone the way that you thought it was going to go. Nip it in the butt from the beginning. Go, hey, I'm frustrated right now. I'm aware of that. And I'm emotionally intelligent enough to say, hey, this is not worth my peace. Because if you can do it early, just like anything else in the world, anything negative that you allow in, or when you allow anger and frustration into your life, it's like a mustard seed. And to that end, it's like a tumbleweed, or it's like an avalanche, and the snowball just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because that one frustration then makes everything else that's seemingly little more frustrating. And then it grows and it grows, and eventually it's this giant monster that you can't stop. And so it's extremely important that we are very aware of when we are feeling upset or angry because of something that's happened around us. And in that moment, we go, hey, is this worth my peace? Is this worth me being upset today? Is this worth me projecting onto the other people around me? Is this worth me not being productive with my business and with my work today? The answer is no. It's not, because it's little. It means almost nothing in the grand scheme. And at the end of the day, we have jobs to do, not just our jobs professionally, but we have families, we have children, we have friends, we have people that rely on us. And for us to be frustrated and angry over something as trivial as, somebody not having a contact ready for me to try on, that shouldn't impact my day in a manner like that. So I'm going to leave it at that today, boys. I think you guys get the idea, but just really be conscious when you start to notice that you're kind of going down a hole of anger, frustration, confusion. Really be like, hey, hold on. Let's take a step back. Let's sit down here and let's not allow this to spin out of control. We don't need we don't need the windstorm to turn into a twister that you self-create because you're not able to step back and go, hey, let's nip this now. Let's stop it. And we'll move forward from there. So think on that today, gentlemen. Thank you all. I love you all. God bless. Be strong. Let's get after it today. I am quite certain that I believe tomorrow I'm going to let you guys know about that new fun project that's going to be coming out for all of you that are looking to get jacked and look beautiful with your shirt off and maybe feel like an athlete again. We'll let you guys know about that tomorrow, I do believe. Have an awesome day, fellas. Let's stay after it.